Simply Scuba presents the Deco Stop podcast. Hi guys, welcome to the Deco Stop from Simply Scuba. So I'm Mark.
And I'm Greg.
Hi. In this podcast, we're basically going to be talking about all things scuba diving. This is our weekly podcast where we, talk about scuba diving. In today's episode, basically, we're going to be talking about ourselves again because we're that self-centered, to be brutally honest. But actually, it is quite a good way of getting sort of interesting, funny diving stories out of one another. Today's episode is sponsored by Divemaster Insurance, but we'll discuss these later because it is actually very important to get yourself insured, especially your equipment, when you're traveling abroad. So a few sort of interesting things about or a few changes in the kind of Simply Scuba YouTube kind of roster. Product reviews will now go live daily at 10 a.m. GMT, sort of Britain time. And this is basically because we used to do it quite early in the morning, so we figured actually instead of you guys waking up, looking at your feed and kind of going, oh, it's all product reviews. If you're only kind of interested in the this kind of social side of the Simply Scuba channel, we have to make those product reviews, so we're just going to put them live at 10, and they're slightly different as well. We're kind of mixing it up, so I'm spending a bit more time kind of talking about the products and kind of breaking up my reviews so they're a bit more structured than what they used to be. And also we're going to start reviewing other people's products. So it only used to be sort of products that we sell, whereas now we're kind of opening up to obviously scuba diving related stuff. But yeah, if you're kind of out there, you're looking at this certain piece of dive equipment, but you don't know whether you want to buy it or not.
We'll give you a review.
Yeah, that's it. If you want us to do a review on it, either you're more than welcome enough to buy it and then send it to us. We'd be happy enough to do that. But no, if you just sort of ask the brand and just say, oh, hey, can you send a sample of this to the boys and girls at Simply Scuba? Then yeah, let's see what happens.
Yeah.
Scuba advice videos are now going to change as well. We used to get in kind of a routine of we do what to look for when buying such and such, and then we do like a whole season of top 5 videos, and then this, that, and the other, and they just used to circulate. Whereas now we're kind of trying to mix it up a little bit so it's a bit more interesting, and we don't get into the same like furrows that we used to. So it's going to be new dive gear. That's going to be a monthly thing where everything new that's been released by the manufacturers in a certain month, the following one I'll just basically congregate it and just tell you guys about it. If nothing new has been released, I don't know, I'll just make something up.
Yeah.
I'm good at that. Again, sort of list and top 5 videos. You'll always get your sort of Friday feature video, but these kind of get mixed into the rest of the week. Comparison video where I basically take 2 similar things and then just kind of smash them together and see which one wins. They prove quite popular, especially with like the new Sunto and the Shearwater Terric. And again, sort of what to look for when buying, because they're quite interesting. Sort of instructional videos. Yes. So, Greg, what is new in the news?
Right, well, so what we got? We got some plastic found at 5 kilometres deep. This is from DiverNet. Yeah, Tesco's bag, probably. Yeah.
Well, this was actually so this is in the Mediterranean. This was just off Greece. So Greece really needs to up their game. This was actually in the Calypso Deep, which is apparently the deepest section of the Mediterranean. And they said, yeah, we found like underwater life, but we actually found more like human debris than we did like fish. So like cans and plastic bags and just dirt. And it's like, come on, guys, we really need to up our game with this, because yeah, once it sinks down there's nowhere else for it to go, and it's not going anywhere. So no. Yeah, we do need to up our game with plastic pollution.
Yeah, it would be nice, wouldn't it? Right, so what else we got? More walking sharks have been discovered.
Yep, they're evolving, people. Mm-hmm. They're coming out onto dry land.
No,
less kind of scary than Jaws. This is just like a little dog shark blessed little thing. Yeah, they just seem to be using their pectoral fins to kind of like waddle along the floor, a bit like a frogfish does. And yeah, just scientists are discovering more and more of them are kind of, seeing the light, seeing why we left the ocean however many millions of years ago. These sharks are kind of going, maybe that was a good idea.
Yeah, they found four new species, so there's 9 now.
That's cool.
Pretty cool, isn't it? Right, what else we got? Scuba diver shaken in pool during quake. So go on.
Yeah, this is quite cool. There's actually a video on this that you can sort of find. Just search like scuba diving, earthquake, swimming pool, and yeah, it's someone
impressive, isn't it?
Yeah, it's someone on like the inside of the house or whatever, and there's like 2 divers in this pool, and they're just being shaken around, and you're kind of at that point. You're like, well, what do you do? Do you try and get out? I mean, granted, you're getting sloshed around, but you're not getting smashed against the walls or anything. Yeah, so it's arguably safer just to kind of stay where you are until it all sort of goes over. But yeah, I think this was like a 7.7 magnitude earthquake, and the water is just throwing them backwards and forwards, and they're just kind of like, okay then.
Yeah, he said when it first happened, he thought someone's pulled the plug out, and then his next thought was, there is no plug.
No.
Right, okay, so next one. Travel restrictions reinstated in Micronesia.
Yeah. Yeah, so this was a matter of, wasn't it, that they lifted these like travel bans and whatnot, and then they're like, actually, you know what?
Immediately reinstated.
We kind of have to keep these. And from what I read, it was mainly down to COVID-19, the coronavirus.
Yes.
So
well done you for remembering the name.
Yeah,
good.
Yeah, I'm good with that kind of stuff.
I'm still a Corona, but cool. All right.
If it's named after a beer, you remember it.
Those poor people at Corona Drinks Marketing. they are. Right, so plastic problem for Gear Aid.
Yeah, so this is a news story that I haven't actually filmed yet, but it's something that we're looking at. And it basically originated from a 1-star review on a product on our website. And we like to look at these because it's like, oh, well, if someone doesn't like the product or if the product is naff, then do we need to keep sort of stocking it? But actually, it had nothing to do with the actual product itself. It was to do with the packaging that it came in.
Right.
And when we actually looked at the packaging, we were like, actually, yeah, you know what? It's like 6 times larger than the actual product.
Yeah.
I mean, all it was Zipper Lube, which is like the size of a chapstick, just a lip balm type thing. But then, just so much plastic. Yeah. To the point where we've kind of decided that we don't want to stock this brand anymore until they change. So yeah, we're actually sort of at Simply Scuba. We're reassessing kind of almost everything that we sell, because so many of the manufacturers are changing to plastic alternatives or just sort of eco-friendly packaging. But these guys just aren't really.
Yeah.
So we're trying to kind of like force their hands and make a positive change for the environment.
Yeah. It's important. So yeah.
Yeah. I mean, us here, we're currently looking at changing our sort of packaging that we do ship items, because we do still use sort of plastic because it's very convenient and it's very inexpensive. But yeah, we're trying to look for an alternative that isn't ridiculously expensive, but also gets products to people's front doors safely. Because yeah, I'd love to sort of change to, I don't know, just a simple paper bag or something. But realistically, that's not going to survive the postal system. Yeah. So, we need to find some kind of alternative, and that's kind of at the state that we're at. Yeah. And a lot of the manufacturers are at. They're looking for alternatives. But while some are like Fourth Element, Scuba Pro, they've already made that kind of change for like Mission 2020. Yeah. Gear Aid just seem to be a bit behind the time, and it's just a bit excessive with their plastic packaging.
Yeah.
In other news, I found 2 other new bits and bobs that Shaun missed. The first one, The first one is that a Polish diver, Marcel Korkus, set a world record for the highest altitude scuba dive at 6.4 kilometers above sea level.
Wow.
Which is impressive. It was like he had to hike up this mountain with a bunch of sort of other guys, and they were wearing like crampons and all this stuff.
And with all your gear.
With a tank and a dry suit and all that, because it was like 3 degrees Celsius in the water. So
damn it, one fin.
Yeah. Oh, I forgot my weight belt. They said that he basically had to make up his own dive tables.
Yeah.
Because altitude dive tables stop at like 3 kilometers. He was like over twice that.
Sure.
So he's just like, oh, I don't know, I'm just going to bring nitrox.
Yeah.
And also, have you ever been diving and you get that like annoying like jellyfish sting on your lips or anywhere sensitive?
Yes.
Scientists have discovered
Oh, that hurts.
Scientists have discovered what that actually is. It's a little thing called Cassiopeia zamarcana something.
Could you say that again, please, Mark?
Cassiopeia zamarcana. Sorry, I just can't read my own handwriting in this dimly lit studio.
This small coffin that we call a studio.
No, it's actually scientists from the Smithsonian. They basically discovered these little blighters. It used to be there were so many rumors of it's like stinging plankton or it's like chopped up jellyfish from boat propellers, but actually. Yeah, I suppose it is kind of stinging plankton, what we always used to tell students. And but yeah, they have like identified it, and they're like, yeah, it's this little thing, and it often like lives in the mucus of jellyfish and whatnot. Yeah. But yeah, it's this small little stinging cell, and yeah, if it gets in contact with sort of thin skin, like on your lips or anywhere, then yeah, it stings, and it's horrible.
Yeah, I've had students come up with that, and they're not happy.
I remember the very first time I experienced it, I think, was on my like first few like nitrox dives.
Yeah.
And I always thought back to like, oh, the one sign of like oxygen toxicity is like tingling in the lips. I was like, oh my god, but I was only at like 12 meters. So I'm like, oh my god, this is how it ends.
I've turned science on its head, and I'm not well. Right.
Yeah, new in store. So a few things. So the first one is that Scuba Pro have announced a pink version of the C370 second stage, and they're releasing that for Paddy Women's Dive Day. They're actually going to do a world record attempt to break their previous world record attempt, but this is going to be an all-ladies world record. They're basically trying to get 140 female scuba divers in a pool, breathing off a single Mark 25 first stage all at once. Which
lipstick
is cool.
everywhere.
So yeah, they brought out this limited edition pink C370 second stage, which all of the participants are going to have, but they're also bringing it out as a limited edition run that you yourself can buy. And yeah, if you want to take part, then we're going to do a new story on it. But basically, it's in the Netherlands. It's in July. I think it's the 18th of July, and. Yeah, they're basically after as many people as possible. What I loved about their previous world record attempt was that was in Korea. It was 135 people sort of under the water. But obviously, more people turned up than they were expecting, because on all the banners, it's like, oh, a world record attempt, just 125 divers. And yeah, they actually got more people. But yeah, cool. It's just... like tanks and hoses all over the place, just feeding this single first stage, and then hoses coming out of that, and then hoses coming out of that, to like 100 and something different divers, all breathing at the same time in this one big swimming pool.
Oh God!
But yeah, we'll hopefully get sort of a few of these in stock. So if you're interested, you can get your own sort of pink C370 Mark 25 Evo Scuba Pro regulator to celebrate.
Yeah, they're doing really cool things with colours now, aren't they? They're really
yeah.
They no longer black and silver are your only options.
That's it. It's the old sort of Ford adage. Oh, you can have it in whatever colour you want as long as it's black.
Yeah.
Although I have seen a white Scuba Pro wetsuit.
Nice.
And yeah, it looks great, but
the first time.
That's exactly what I think. Mainly because I dive in quite grim, like green lakes and stuff. But if you're a nice like blue water diver, I'm sure it looks beautiful. But yeah, I just think practically, probably black is the way to go.
So it's a bit night out, isn't it? Yeah. Right, so what we got next? All free undersuit with the D1X, the D7X, and the D10. This is really cool.
Yeah. So until the end of February, we're basically offering, if you buy any waterproof dry suit, and that's the brand waterproof, not just a waterproof dry suit. People really get confused by that, especially with like waterproof gloves. And it's like, oh, well, my hands got wet.
You stated they were waterproof.
Like, yeah, with a capital W, it's the brand waterproof.
Yep.
Granted, it's probably not the cleverest of names, but yeah.
But then you don't expect some fruit when you buy a new phone from Apple, do you? Do you know what I mean? It's, but yeah. Swings and roundabouts.
So if you buy a D1X, a D7X, or a D10 from us at Simply Scuba, up until the end of February, you're going to get yourself a free MeshTech undersuit. And MeshTech is clever. It's not like a standard undersuit where it's just like fluffy. It's got like 2 separated layers separated by this like mesh of hairs, and it just allows for a constant layer of gas over your body, so you're nice and warm. You can't compress it over a wide area. It's really weird when you kind of like touch and feel it and try to squidge it. It kind of resists you, but it also allows for a nice even sort of airflow. So you're saving yourself like a £200 undersuit. Yeah. So if you're in the market, you're thinking about getting a new dry suit,
get it.
Yeah, just go for it.
Yeah. Right, so Tovatech got their new 3500S. It's down from £238 to £199 now.
Yep, so again, this is just for the month of February. As soon as you get to March, the deal is over. Yeah, you're saving, I think it's like 16%. But yeah, it's a ruddy, powerful torch, if I'm allowed to say the word ruddy.
3,500 lumens. That's incredible.
Yeah.
3,500. Whoa.
Yeah, I think that's brighter than my car.
Yes.
But yeah, it's
very cool.
It's a chunky torch. It's rechargeable.
Yep.
It's ruddy powerful.
Yes. Yes.
Shaun's also put Fourth Element Hotfoot socks are back in stock. That's kind of incorrect. It's just that they've been redesigned. But yeah, the new design is in stock.
Yep, 35 quid we're selling them at.
Yeah, and they're just a thin sort of undersuit sock. It's a bit like, it's kind of a hybrid between their what's it called? Is it hydrotherm? There are so many of these terms that I have to remember. It's Zerotherm and something else, thermocline, and yeah, it's kind of it's a dry suit undersuit sock, but it's nice and thin. Yeah. So yeah.
Cool.
And also,
oh yes,
go on then.
Oh, can I? Oh, thank you. X Deep frameless mask. Oh, they've got that in black and kind of clear as well.
Yeah, this is another one of those kind of unicorn excrement products where it's really hard to get hold of because everyone just buys them so quickly. We buy them in like large batches, but we can never keep them in stock because we have this. Basically, if you don't know, the Simply Scuba website has this little feature. If ever we're out of stock, it comes up with a notify me button. So you just type in your email address, and then as soon as someone in the warehouse scans it into stock, it buzzes you an email, so you can then sort of buy it.
Buy it now.
Yeah, buy it. Basically, because we used to sell stuff that wasn't in stock, saying that you know what, as soon as it comes into stock, we'll mail it to you. But it wasn't great experience because if it didn't turn up like the next day, then it just made us look bad, the manufacturer look bad. So we were like, you know what, if it's not in stock, we can't sell it to you, but you can sign up for notifications. It's just a bit more honest and it's just a more positive customer experience. So yeah, if you want one of these sort of new shiny masks, X Deep are one of those brands that everyone just loves. They're really that kind of underdog that's just coming out of nowhere and just shooting for the moon. And their mask is just very, very popular. So if you want one, if you see it in stock, just go for it because it won't be in stock for long.
No.
And if it's not in stock, just sign up for notifications.
Yeah. And anyone listening to this who has mask problems with a slightly larger nose, this is the mask for you.
Yeah. Yeah, they do have much larger sort of nose pockets for the larger nosed diver. Okay, and then on to today's topic. So today's topic, we're talking about ourselves, more specifically our professional training, but sort of fun stories and just kind of like chatting about how we got into diving and our like experience in the sort of professional tier, and just some funny stories. Do you want to start, or do you want me to?
Well, I've had quite a few. So, I mean, I've had things from being up from a dive. Somebody looks at your watch and they're going, "Oh, that's a nice computer," and they're sort of you're explaining it to them because you think, they might end up wanting to buy one, and you explain it all to them. And a girl came up, she went, "Oh, it's got the aeroplane on the side on the Sunto," and she just, "Did you see an aeroplane?" yeah. So we've had
that's a unique sensor.
Yeah, pretty cool. I've nearly got myself in trouble before. I had an Irish guy and three American girls who he was with. We were in the pool doing the sessions, and we're doing regulator clearing. So take the reg out your mouth, put it back in, clear it. And all the girls did it, no problem. This guy, we were in the shallow end of the pool, and he was having some serious problems, and he kept coming up and. He's spitting water out of his face, and on the third or fourth time, he was crying, and I know.
What are you doing?
I know, and all the girls, because they'd all met each other on Coast End Road, and they were like, we're all friendly, he's our guy, and I said, so what are you doing? Well, how's it all going? And he said, okay, so we had a look, and I watched him do it one more time and got up to the surface. I said, right, so what you're doing is you're actually breathing in when you're underwater without a regulator in your mouth, and he said, am I not allowed to do that?
No.
And I was like, no. And he and then he was like, yeah, okay, I've got it. And he did it, and he cleared it, and it was all great. And they were high-fiving each other, and all the girls are cuddling each other. I was like, all right, calm down. We're not American, all right? At this point, there's an
American audience.
There was, because it was just a bit too huggy. And this guy then stood up and went, hey. Now this was, it turned out, I ended up speaking to him in the bar later, a special forces man on holiday. So that went well. But no.
No, I have a similar, this is one of those like stories that probably every dive instructor or dive master has heard, so I don't know how true it is, but a guy that I know sort of was teaching a course, and he was trying to watch this guy like clear his mask, and he did it, but he couldn't quite figure out how because he didn't see any bubbles coming out of it. So he made him do it again and then again, and it turns out apparently what this guy was doing was, instead of exhaling through his nose to fill the mask with air, he was snorting all of the pool water, and it's one of those things where you're like, nah. Really?
Do you know what I mean?
I don't know how true that was, but that's one of those stories that kind of always sticks with me.
Oh, good luck in a pool, especially on a holiday.
Oh, in seawater. Can you imagine snorting seawater to clear a mask?
Yeah. Lucky you can't get pregnant.
But getting on to our training, so I left university and I started doing sort of marine conservation work, and I got into scuba diving. I came back home to the UK, and I was chatting with my local dive centre, and I basically like climbed the ladder there. I spent about a year as a dive master, kind of helping out there, and then I decided to. What it basically was I was helping one of the instructors was teaching a course, and this little girl called Maddie, bless her, wonderful girl. She couldn't do mask sort of clearing, and because we had our own sort of on-site swimming pool, we said, tell you what, you don't have to sort of do it now, but if you want to, you can come back during the week as many times as you like, and we'll kind of jump in with you, and we'll just sort of practice your skills until you get it. And I was practicing with her, and it was like the following day or something, and she just did it. Sometimes students, after they go home and they sleep on it, their brain kind of figures it out.
Just clicks.
And she did it. So I was like, oh, okay, and we were repeating it, and we were doing it again and again and again. And I was like, you've got it, you've nailed it. So I kind of got out, and I told Mum, and Mum was like really excited. She said, oh, so you can sign her off. I was like,
Her mum.
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
yeah,
All right.
yeah, my
Mum,
mother,
I did it!
Yeah, my mum always comes with me when I'm teaching.
I'll
No,
try your fins, Mark.
no, Maddie's mum was there, and she's like, "Oh, great! So you can sign her off." I was like, "No, because I'm just a dive master."
Yeah.
So that was kind of my first. You know what? I'm going to become an instructor. So I did it. I went to do my IDC, and turns out I was the only candidate on the course. So I did my IDC by myself. So there's nowhere to hide. There's no one else to like just bounce off of for ideas, because basically your instructor course, it can either be like I don't know, like a few months long, where you're basically trained to be an instructor over like a whole bunch of different sort of teaching sessions, or you can do an intensive course, which is what I did, because I'd been a professional dive master for a good year or so, and I'd been like rescue diver, like helping around at the dive site for a while before that as well. So I've been in the kind of scuba diving teaching world for a couple years. So I was like, nah, I'm just going to do the intensive course, just become an instructor, and yeah, that was an intense like 9-day course of basically everything, all the different procedures, how to do this, bum 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 bum, all the like the requirements and bum bum bum, and yeah, then after I did the intense course, the following day was the actual what's it called, the IE, the instructor examination, the test, which is like a 2-day test, and it was actually taking place at the dive centre that I was doing my my IDC at. So we had all these other instructor candidates come from all around the UK to come do, because they only do these IEs like once or twice a year or something, and yeah, that was cool. So it started off with the exams, and because I've been doing the intensive course, it was like it was in my head. All of the answers were kind of there. And you know when you finish an exam, but like half an hour early, you kind of think,
I either nailed this or I did really badly. Yeah.
Have I missed something? So I was like, oh, tell you what, no, I've gone through it like 3 times, all my answers. So you know what, I'm just gonna just gonna get up and do whatever I want. So yeah, I handed my my answer question in, and they were like, "Oh, good. Go see your course director, because they need to talk to you." And I'm like, "Oh no, good heavens, what?" Turns out that my diver medical had ran out like that week.
Right.
So they basically got me in the back of a car. They raced me up to this dive doctor that they hadn't told me because they thought it would stress me out too much.
Yeah, but let's just put them in a car and not
so
tell them.
yeah. So they booked me on this diver medical, and we spent like 2 hours driving up, and they're like, right, whilst you're in the back of the car, you go through, because you're allocated a presentation that you have to give during your examination. So like, right, go through that.
Yeah.
And then they're like, right, they kick me into this doctor's office where you do like step aerobics and whatnot. You have your eyes tested and all that kind of stuff. And they're like, yeah, you're fit and healthy. I was like, yeah, I know, because I'm like 20 something. But yeah, I had to get that sort of certificate. And then I came back, they threw me in the pool to do like demonstrations and sort of assessments on skills.
Yeah.
And then it was actually quite nice, because what I'd missed was that because you have to give a presentation during your IE.
Yeah.
And I had missed that section, which is normally done in a group. So you've got all the other candidates and all eyes on you. But then later I did it like one-on-one with the instructor or the examiner, which was great, and passed with flying colours. And I was like, oh, well, thanks very much. Following day was sort of the open water stuff.
Yeah.
And that was good fun, because you've got these other... It was kind of, if they're going to sign this guy off, then I feel great about myself. Because I'd had all of this like one-on-one training, they were like, no, you're doing it way too fast. Just do it really, really slow. And because that's what the examiners are looking for. So they had like chiseled me into this like poster boy instructor, and it definitely worked.
Oh, cool.
It was intense. There were times where I was just sat in the classroom by myself, literally doing homework, and you're like, I want someone to talk to.
I miss people.
And I mean, this was March as well in the UK, and it was like abysmal. I was living in this like porter cabin, and I like woke up in the middle of the night, and there was this like stray cat in my bed. I was like, "Where the hell did you come from? How did you get in?" And yeah, that was a surreal experience. But it was that, and the instructor swims.
Yeah.
You have to do. It's not as bad as Divemaster. Divemaster sucks for your watermanship skills.
Yes.
They put you through your paces. For instructor, all you have to do is like swim 200 meters or
Yes.
something with mask fins and snorkels. But you're not allowed to lift your head out of the water. So I'm swimming along in this swimming pool, and I have to like turn around, and I have to do, I don't know, 30 lengths or something. And towards the end, your mind just, because all you're looking at is
Switches off.
you're just looking at pool tiles. So and I got to the end, and I was like, is that 30? I was like, well, if I lift my head out of the water, I fail, and I got to do it again. So I just kind of like paused, and I just like stuck my hand out of the water with the OK symbol, and my staff instructor was just like, 2 more. So I was like, oh, okay. So I turned around, did 2 more, I got out, and they were like, oh yeah, no, that's great. To be honest, we lost count as well, so we thought, oh, we'll just make him do 2 more, and then he's definitely done.
See, I've done that. So I've had a DMT doing when they do the tread water for 15 minutes, and he's doing that, and I'm watching him and timing him. Then my boss starts talking to me about some other work that's coming up in the afternoon, and we're chatting, and before you know it, we're having a cup of tea, and then we look at each other and went, the guy said we've run out, and we're standing there, we looked at him, you all right? And he's like, yeah,
got his hands out the water.
I'm okay, guys, I'm okay. And we're like, you're done now, go on, well done.
Come back.
Yeah, did I do it? Yeah, well done.
I had one Divemaster candidate, and he, I mean, bear in mind, there were 4 DM candidates on this course. One of them was Stuntman Al. He was a stuntman. He did like Olympic swimming turns at each end. He went swimming like 3 times a week. He was fit as a fiddle.
Yeah.
And then we had this other guy who wasn't. And yeah, even Stuntman Al, basically when you're doing your swims, you're graded on if you do a certain time, or if you at least complete it, you get a 1. If you do it in this time, you get a 2. And then the best score is a 5. Stuntman Al, doing all these Olympic turns, he only got a 4.
Okay.
So that's like the tier that they're after to get a 5 out of this one. But this other guy, he got a 1 because he completed it.
Yeah.
He was well over time, but he did the swim. And we were like, dude, you need to sort of up your game, because you're not going to pass. You're not going to get enough points. And he complained that the the water jets in the pool. Oh well, they were pushing against me.
What?
They were slowing me down. It's like, dude, you were doing lengths. So on the other direction, they were pushing you forward.
Plus you're a grown man.
Oh man. Wow. But yeah, so then I became an instructor. I taught in the UK. We used to take students out to Egypt. That was always good fun. We did like referral, where we did the classroom and pool work in the UK, and then we did the sort of open water dives either in the UK if you wanted to do it like then and there, or we did it to out in the Red Sea. But yeah, I used to love the UK diving, because you kind of have to earn it.
Yeah.
If you can do it there, you can do it anywhere.
Yeah, I've got to be honest, it doesn't appeal to me. It just doesn't.
It's there are bits that are just rubbish. You will get just poor dives, and it really does. I'm trying to think of how to sort of phrase it. You can really see who's like comfortable in themselves. As soon as they hit like British waters, you're like, oh, okay, yeah, he's going to be bulletproof. And then you get others, and you're like, okay, I'm going to stay a bit closer to you.
Touch your fin.
Yeah. But no, it's.
I've been spoilt, see. I've just been everywhere I've dived, just been sort of like Bali and Malaysia and Thailand and liveaboards.
Can you hear the sound of the world's tiniest violin playing?
I mean, it's just ridiculous. You'd see 5,000 different species of fish by the time you've, do you know what I mean, got to the bottom. I'm very, very, very spoiled diving, and I'm the first to admit it.
Yeah, yeah. At least you're humble about it.
Yeah, well, do you know what I mean? But I would give it a go. I would give it a go. I try I'm more inclined to try a dry suit now. I've spent some time with you.
Okay, I'll take you to Gildy.
I'm not actually meaning that in a realistic sense, but yeah, no.
There's a silent asterisk.
Yeah,
next to
yeah,
that statement.
yeah. That was such a shallow offer.
No, see, I love British diving because we've got all the inland dive sites, which are great because they're nice controlled environments, but also because they just put stuff down there. I mean, on my first ever open water dive, I saw a double-decker bus down at like 7 meters.
See, I'm from South London. We see them all the time.
Yeah, but you can swim through it.
In parts of South London, you probably can too.
And there are no windows. Oh, yeah, South London.
Again.
But yeah, I love being an instructor because you do get a lot of stories. I mean, one of my funniest was I was an instructor, but there was another guy. I was teaching like an open water course, and I'd sort of signed off all my students, and there was another instructor there, and he was doing an advanced course, but with DPVs, the diver propulsion vehicles, and he was like, "Oh, we got an extra one if you want to like just tag along." I was like, "Oh yes, please," and. So we jumped into the lake with these DPVs, and we sink down to, there's a wooden platform at about 7 meters just to do sort of checks, make sure everything's all right. And the other instructor is leading, and then there's 2 buddy pairs, and then myself as kind of a sheepdog dive master role.
Yeah.
And instructor kind of signals, right, everyone okay? Let's go. And so he shoots off with the DPV. The first buddy pair shoots off with the DPVs. One of the second buddy pair shoots off. And there's this other guy who's just stood upright, if I can paint you a picture, stood upright in his fins. He's got his DPV in his hand, and he's just revving the heck out of this thing, but not going anywhere because he hasn't adjusted his buoyancy. He's not neutrally buoyant. So he's just like, but not going anywhere. So I kind of swim up to him, just kind of like, just press this little button, and then off we go. Yeah, that was great. And another one was we were in Egypt. We only had like one open water student, and he had a bit of a wobbly on like dive 2 of the course.
Yeah.
I can't remember what it was, but something kind of worried him. But he was fine. Nothing bad happened. I think just in his mind he like sort of worked himself up over something, and yeah, so the following day, so we're like, okay, so we're gonna do dive 3. He literally had 2 instructors and this one student, and that was the dive team. So so he was fine.
Yeah.
And we went on a dive, and yeah, he was fine, but he was a little bit apprehensive. So he burned through his gas quite quickly. So we went to. So we got down to about like 70 bar or something, and I kind of like turned to the other instructor, and I go, "Oh, he's only got 70 bar. I'll go do a safety stop with him. Why don't you tag along with that group of divers and yeah, just go for a dive?" So he's like, "Oh, great, cool." So I take this student up to 5 meters to do a 3 meter safety stop. And he's struggling to get up to sort of 5 meters. He's kind of like 6 meters and like finning to stay up.
Yeah.
So I just like reached out my hands just to just kind of like pull him up, so that I can just sort out his buoyancy and get him up to like 5 meters. And then he won't let go of my hand. So I'm like, okay, dude, we're just holding hands on our safety stop.
Don't let anyone see it.
But no, he was a good diver. By the
Still in contact?
No. The problem is I relocated. I bounce around a little bit, so I do lose contact, and I deleted Facebook and all that kind of stuff.
All right. Pioneer, you.
Yeah, and then there was I had to change my name.
Yeah.
No. I would.
Pesky SBI.
Yeah, I mean, if I go back to my sort of hometown, I do sort of pop into my dive centre and say hello, but yeah, it's like a hour and a half, 2 hour drive
fair enough.
just to pop in. So no, I only go there every now and then.
Well, I've had a good one. I've been on boatmaster duties, and we've had a snorkeler on the boat, and they're obviously not diving, so they get all their gear. Everyone's gone off. They've jumped in. They've got all their gear on, got their snorkel and their mast and fins, and they've gone round the boat. Went round the boat once and came up and took the snorkel off and just give it to me, and just sort of showed it to me.
Okay,
I'm like,
cool.
all right, okay. So I took the snorkel. I'm thinking they're going to take every bit of equipment and give it to me one at a time. I was like, all right,
go on then.
So then she looked at me and said, "Can I have the snorkel?" And I was like, "Okay." So I went to give her the snorkel back. She went, "No, another one." I'm like, "Okay." I'm not going to argue.
Yeah,
so
single-use snorkels,
yeah.
you know.
So I give her the snorkel, puts it all on. She knows, got it all on there, and went round the boat again. And then asked for the snorkel. She asked for it again when she got back round, and I asked her why, and she said it was because she thought that there was only so much air in a snorkel, and that it would only last for one trip round the boat. It was oh, painful.
Infinite air, limited depth. That's a snorkel. No, talk about snorkelers again in the Red Sea. So. In the Red Sea, if you've never been, there are sort of day boats which either sort of have like up to, 20 scuba divers on, or they have snorkeling boats which have, like 60.
20,000 people.
Yeah, so many snorkelers on. And they moor up next to one another, so the boats like lash onto one another because it's a bit more stable.
Yeah.
And they kind of come and go, and it's all very sort of free and easy. But we've moored up at this dive site. We've been on a dive, but it's like Asta Manana, just whenever. We're not really sort of racing anywhere. But the snorkeling boat next to us, who has like all these like 60 snorkelers in the water, they kind of like reel them all back in. And they start like pulling in the mooring lines, and they go to set sail and leave, and we're all just kind of like there on our surface interval, and there's this one snorkeler still in the water going, and yeah, the boat had kind of left, but then you see them make this like big arc if they've realised that they've left someone in the water.
One shot.
Yeah, they threw out this this life ring attached to a rope and like pulled him back in. Sorry, and then kind of left. And you're like, oh, good heavens.
Yes.
Just if you're like in the water and you notice you're kind of lonely and there should be 59 other people in the water, kind of look to see where your boat is. But also Struth, whoever was like Divemaster on board.
Yeah, it
like,
does happen.
Dude,
Scary.
You need to do your head checks a bit better than
that. 1T, 30, 40, there you go. Roughly.
That'll do, as long as I get paid.
I've done a shark. We went off on a shark dive, so we were expecting to see bull sharks. Yeah. So juvenile bull sharks, about 2-3 metres long, so fair old size.
Okay.
And this is during the monsoon, so we had probably a nice group of all advanced divers, because this is Chomp-on dive site. It's if anyone knows, it's quite fairly deep. Starts at about 30 metres. Yeah. And while we're doing the briefing, 3 bull sharks breached the water.
Cool.
And there were more than 3 or 4 people that just went, "I'm not going." They just flatly refused to go.
Are you
They're
kidding?
just like, no, they were huge, these things. So that was a little bit.
We had a bit where I don't think I was here, but you know when you hear a story so much, you kind of remember it as if you were there. So there was a group of divers coming back on. They were like at the back of the boat. There was no current, and they were doing their safety stop just sort of around the boat. And this one of the guys, his computer's cleared, and he's like, "Oh, okay, I'm just gonna head up." And it's like, "Yeah, that's fine." So up he goes, and he's like having fun with the crew on board, because you get quite jovial with them. You play about with them, and underneath, they didn't know, but a silky shark had sort of come, and he was just like cruising around in and out of the divers, and they were like, "Oh wow!" But the guy who had already got out didn't know the shark was there. He was mucking around with the crew, and the crew basically ended up picking him up and like throw him in the water, kind of go like on top of this silky shark. didn't hit it or anything, but like excited it because it's like something thrashing around in the water. But nothing happened obviously. But yeah, he was like, "Oh my god!" Because afterwards they were like. You know, you like jumped on top of this like 10-foot long silky shark or something.
Oh God.
Oh, is that it for stories?
Might well be.
Yeah.
Well, I've got many more, but none that we can put on a podcast.
Yeah, children might listen to this.
Please move on.
Move on. Okay, sure. Our director is saying to move on.
Sorry, Dad.
Next week we'll just talk more if you enjoy this kind of stuff, because we enjoy talking about our dive history. What we talk about is fun. Shaun says no, but we really know what's going to happen next week. So now we're going to move on to our ad reads. This week we're sponsored by Divemaster Insurance. So Divemaster Insurance is your one-stop shop when it comes to scuba diving insurance. They provide a fast and easy way to book all of your travel insurance requirements online, no matter whether you're going on a single trip, extended stay, or are planning an annual multi-trip. Divemaster Insurance has got you covered. You can even insure your dive equipment through them as well. So to read more T's and C's, terms and conditions, to find the best policy for your diving trip, and to get your simple no obligation quote, just click on the link pinned in the comments or head over to our website and search for Divemaster Insurance. Divemaster Insurance, the diving insurance specialists. I've actually used them before, and very quick and easy to organise it. And it's like, you're like, oh, okay. Well, I'm only planning on doing like one big trip this year, and it takes you down to this route, and do you want to insure this, that, and the other? And it's
so needed.
And also they know what they're talking about.
Yep.
When I was sorting out life insurance, because I'm getting old now and you have to do that kind of stuff, I had to do this like phone call because I ticked scuba diver. And they're like, right, now I don't really know what I'm talking about, but I just kind of have to go through these like questions with you. And it's like, do you dive on nitrox? Yes. Do you dive in caves? No.
You can literally feel the points just
ding, I'm like thinking, how is this going to affect my my premium? It's like, do you cave dive? No.
No, never.
Do you dive on trimix? No. Do you dive on rebreathers? It's like, I have, but I don't. So it's
I never will anymore for the purposes of this.
I was like, well, I have a certification card, but I don't because they're really expensive and I don't own my own. So it's like, so anyway, so now we're going to get on to your questions, your comments, your queries, your corrections from basically across the Simply Scuba YouTube channel. And the first one comes from Vincent Van Streels on last week's Deco Stop Jacket versus Wing. Any idea when the Scuba Pro Mark 19 might come out? Do you know?
No.
I don't really neither.
I know a couple of things about it, but I just don't know when it's coming out.
Yeah, they basically... Scuba Pro haven't actually announced their new BCD that I know about, that I'm not allowed to tell you about. I know. Chances are they're not listening to this. If they are, Scuba Pro, I love you.
Please send me free stuff.
Oh, yeah, you can send me free stuff if you want. The Mark 19, I don't honestly know. I imagine if it's to the point where they've put it in their 2020 manual, it will be out in the next few months, probably this side of summer. Because basically they need to create enough to send to all their different sort of economic zones. So just give them a few manufacturing weeks or months, and you'll probably start seeing it. Yeah. From what I've seen, it's only been sort of EAN 250 tested against the D420 and the G260 second stages, because it cost them like £5,000 or something to test each configuration, so each first stage and that second stage. So it cost them a lot of money to do like one first stage against the A700, the S620, the S600, the R195, the R190, the G260, the D420. That's like 500. That's like $5,000 a pop. Yeah, not so. No, they're only going to do it on certain ones for now. But give it a couple months, you'll probably start seeing it on shelves.
Yeah. So this one from Frogbear02, and this is from the video How to Stop Your Ears from Ruining Your Dive. While free diving, I find myself naturally swallowing with every stroke. Each paddle down, I can feel the equalisation go a little bit more. Anything wrong with that? No, as long as you get down and you equalise okay.
I think kind of what they're describing is that it's almost easier to equalise the further down you get. And that's because of the pressure change. Because you go from like 1 bar at the surface to 2 bar of pressure at 10 meters, and then you get to 3 bar at 20 meters. So the actual pressure change is lessening every time.
Yeah.
So it's a little bit easier to equalize the further down you get. But yeah, equalized early, often, frequent. That's the best way to sort of prepare your ears. So yeah, if you can do it all the way down, do it.
Yeah. Biggest pressure change, first 5 meters.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely.
Terence Lee asks on, again, last week's Deco stop, I'm an advanced diver, but I've not been diving for about 8 years. Plan to go back into diving. Do you recommend learning to dive with a long hose? Do I need a course to dive with a long hose or just a pool session? Will just a pool session do? Thanks in advance. Yes, I mean, I'm DIR diver, so I do recommend a sort of long hose primary donate. I find it's safer, it's more reliable. If you're in an out of air situation, you're passing a buddy a regulator that you know is working, and yeah, it is something that you should really be taught. It won't be a long course or anything. If you can try and convince an instructor to kind of like just go over it with you, so you know how to stow a hose, because like a 1.5 or a 2.1 meter long hose is going to be pretty cumbersome in the water if you don't know how to sort of route it properly. But yeah, I definitely recommend long hose sort of primary donate setups. But realistically, unless you are super comfortable in the water and you can sort of handle sort of that sort of upgrades, then yeah, I'd get some kind of training at least, so you know how to deploy it, how to stow it away afterwards, how to swap between a sort of necklace alternate and primary donate. So yeah, there you go.
All right, so this one from Tim Barnett. This is from the video Jacket versus Wing Style on the Deco stop. So, hey boys and girls in Bubble Land.
Hi.
I have a question. I've thought of a diving safety device.
Cool.
How do I get it developed, produced, marketed? Thanks, Tim.
You've got a few different sort of avenues. You can go down the sort of Kickstarter route, where the thing is that it's tough, because as soon as you kind of announce what you have, other people can make it faster if they have the kind of the manufacturing capability. So you can either go down the Kickstarter route, which does work for sort of a few things. It can take a while, as long as your product has like real world sort of needs. You've got a gap in the market, then yeah, you can go down that route. But don't overpromise. The one thing that I see on Kickstarter is people overpromising and saying that this thing will do this and you'll have it ready January next year, and then oh, hang on, it's February next year and it's not out yet. Or you can sort of go to sort of one of the manufacturers, a manufacturer that sort of makes similar equipment, and you can't, realistically, you're going to sell them your idea. But yeah, in this kind of world, yeah, it's kind of Kickstarter.
Yeah.
If you want to sort of make it yourself, have your own kind of business. Yeah, you almost want to like patent your concept, so that no one else can copy it. Yeah, that's kind of it.
Yeah, they could get in contact with all of the suppliers, tell them what they want to do, and then they can nick it from them.
Yeah, that's the one risk. That's kind of what I don't want to kind of recommend, is like, you know what, just post your idea online, because then anyone can just go, yeah, I can make that, yoink.
Yeah. If it's the inflatable lady safety sausage, that's already tried to be invented and it was refused.
Yeah, there are plenty of sort of safety devices, but if yours is different, if you think it's going to change the sort of the world of scuba diving, then yeah, just make it your passion. Sort of find out how to sort of manufacture whatever it is, whether it requires sort of moldings or sort of different materials, different stitchings, whatever. Just sort of find people that do that, make a prototype, try and get it patented if you can, so that other people can't copy it quite so easy, and sort of do it yourself. But you're going to need a lot of capital to pay for that. Or you just become affiliated with a brand, and they make it, and you either get a commission based on how many they sell, or you just sell them your concept. It is a tricky question. It's not really where we specialise, but
change your name to Scuba Pro. Give it a try.
Yeah.
Right.
David Kennedy, again on last week's Deco Stop, asked, "Hi guys, hi." So he asked, I dive on Apex Black Ice Wing Style BCD. In your podcast, you say that you have to buy a wing to suit either single or twin cylinder setups, as the Black Ice is supposed to. Next page. Take both setups. My question is, how well will my wing suit a twin setup? Great show, by the way. So the Black Ice, yes, it's a wing style BCD, but it's that kind of recreational. It can take twins, but you need to buy like a Bebo kit, which is like a second cam band that you like thread onto it. Yeah. It will do twins. I probably wouldn't put twin 12s on it, personally. I mean, I used to dive something very similar when I was teaching. I had two 300 bar 7s, and yeah, it was fine. But then eventually, I kind of learnt about backplates and harnesses, and I sort of went down that. So it'll do the job. Just make sure you got enough buoyancy, and just kind of like read around. It's, in my opinion, it's not the best way to dive on twins, but it will do it. I'd probably leave it as a single cylinder sort of wing, and then if you want to dive on twins, go to sort of backplates, like a solid steel backplate. It's one of those things where it'll do it, but personally, I'd nah.
If you were going to do twins, what, X Deep, Project 10X?
Yeah,
a nice one.
Yeah. I mean, the NX projects, they are very clever. They're just that little bit different as opposed to the standard one where the backplate, it's basically backplates, I think, originated from like old road signs that they basically cut up and just sort of, that'll do. I need a big sheet of metal. Yoink. But I mean, myself, I just dive a 3mm stainless steel backplate with a 40-pound wing, I think it is, in the UK. I've got like I think, how big is it? I think that's like a 5 kilo lead sort of V weight. Is it a V weight? Yeah, I think it's a V weight. Sort of on my twin sets. And yeah, it's solid, it's rigid. The thing is with like cam band or cam banded twins is it's best that they're not manifolded, because as soon as you like twist and like flex two like 10-litre cylinders with this like rigid manifold in the center, that's just gonna break. So it's best if you have independent cylinders. So they're twinned, but they're not connected to one another. So you have to breathe off one cylinder, and then you have to breathe off another cylinder. A true twin set, a manifolded twin set, they're both connected. So
okay.
I'd steer away from it. For my personal recommendation, I'd look into the backplate and harnesses. But yeah, you can dive twins, but it's best if they're independent.
So this next one we have a warning on.
She's a kid. Okay.
That mean like be gentle?
Yeah, we'll be nice.
Yeah. So Lily Japon, and this is from the video. How to stop your ears from ruining your dive. How is wearing earplugs? When I was in swimming school, my coach always told us to wear earplugs when diving to 12 feet or deeper.
Earplugs are tricky. I usually, especially for scuba diving, I usually recommend against them, just because they create a new sealed airspace in your outer ear, which you can't equalize and sort of air can't escape from.
Yeah.
So what you will see in like different earplugs, swimming earplugs will just be a plug, but you'll see dedicated scuba diving earplugs, and they will be vented. Vented earplugs basically have a teeny tiny little hole drilled into them that doesn't let a lot of water in. It might let some in, but it does allow for sort of pressure exchange to occur, so that airspace in your outer ear can now equalize. They're more designed for people who get ear infections quite readily, because it stops the water from getting inside of your ear or inside of your outer ear. Personally, no. Unless you do have a problem with sort of ear infections, I don't see the benefit of sort of earplugs. Some people use like over ear cuffs, like the Pro Ear mask, which creates this like, it basically connects your face mask that goes over your eyes and your nose with a little tube to these like ear cups that go over your ears, and as you equalize the pressure inside of your mask, it actually equalizes the pressure outside of your ear, which some people find it makes it a little bit easier to equalize. So yeah, if you don't have any problems equalizing or with sort of ear infections, I wouldn't worry about it. I don't see the benefit in earplugs. I only see extra air spaces and extra problems and something else jamming in your ears. So no, personally I don't recommend them. But yeah, if you need them, it is a thing. It is available. See Patrick Sadi. Oh, Struth. I'm sorry.
Do you see why I left this one for you?
I'm sorry, Patrick. Sadiwiski. Patrick, on the comparison video of the Shearwater Teric versus the Sunto D5 dive computers, he says, if I'm not mistaken, the Teric can use any Qi compatible charger. You can use the same charger for your phone as you do for your watch.
Yeah.
I don't know. I know the Teric is like wireless charging, and it has like its own little cradle that it sits in, but there's no like plug or cable that you have to plug in. But I can't comment on Qi compatible chargers. I'm not that much of an expert on it. Yeah,
there is a couple of chat sites up there, and they're talking about the Belkin charger lead, the BLAVOR charging unit, and the Choco Tech 4-in-1 charger. But to be fair, your Teric is so much money, I probably wouldn't risk it.
Yeah.
If the voltage is ever so slightly different on any of those chargers, you'll do some damage to that Teric.
Yeah, it's kind of one of those things. We'd love to go, yeah, you know what, go for it, and you can just use the same charger. But I didn't make the thing. I don't know the exact specifications. Yeah. I mean, by all means, ask Sunto, but not Sunto. Sorry, Shearwater. But you get a wireless charging cradle with it anyway, so just use that.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
It's best to ask Shearwater, the people who actually made it. I'm never gonna like promise. Yeah, it'll be fine. Just do it.
I doubt Shearwater are going to say it's going to be all right either.
No.
All right, so this one's from Hellraiser. Hello, Mr. Razor. What to look for when buying a mask? Why aren't there more custom-fitted masks out there? If your face isn't a mask face...
Yeah. Yeah, I know
wouldn't you want a custom skirt made for your face shape?
Oh, yeah. I think that would be prohibitively expensive.
Yes.
Because mask skirts are made out of silicone, and they're all made in a mold. Molds are very expensive to make, and the manufacturers will use these again and again and again to make as many mask skirts as possible to get as much money out of the investment. I mean, they're like thousands of pounds, these molds.
Yeah.
So trying to make a custom one, that's going to be expensive. It's going to be all these like plaster cast things. You have to put this on your face. They mold your face. They then like cast that in something else like a wax that they can then sort of melt out and sort of make. It's going to be really expensive.
Plastic surgery might be cheaper.
I mean, there are a lot of sort of masks or mask skirts out there, which I think a lot of people don't understand is that most of the technology that goes into like modern scuba masks is in the skirt. Most people are excited about like the glass and the frame, but actually you look at like True Fit and sort of Freedom skirts on sort of different masks, and they're really, really clever in the way that they allow these skirts to sort of mold to different sort of face shapes without applying too much pressure in one particular area. So I think generic, I mean, the most different that I see, you get standard size skirts, you get like mini or midi or just small size skirts.
Yeah,
and
like
you
a shadow.
Yeah, and you also get Asian fit. So they do those kind of three, and so far that kind of covers the entire diving community. So trying to get a personalized, like one-off kind of mask skirt, I think we're a long way away from kind of seeing that. I don't think that's going to be a cost-effective means of sort of making a mask fit you.
And you never really think about it, but it's not a lot of material in that skirt. It's quite thin, and they never really. I've never really seen of a mask skirt rip in and stuff like that. It's quite rare, isn't it?
Yeah,
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. It's occasionally
they blast.
Yeah, the most common sort of rip or tear that I've seen in a mask is either where the buckle attaches to the skirt and someone's pulled that a bit tight and it's just kind of torn sort of on that side section, or that kind of the swarf, as I call it. It's that, on the very tip of the skirt where it's like the mould hasn't been like sort of picked clean enough. Yeah. That bit, if you like pull on that and it creates a little divot, that will weaken. And if you do like pull that, that'll tear. Yeah. But you do have to go some to rip a silicone skirt nowadays.
You do.
But yes, to answer your question, I think it's not really cost effective to make a one-off custom mask skirt yet. Maybe that's a gap in the market.
Yeah, well, there is talk of Scuba Pro having 3 different skirt sizes.
Okay.
On this new one, but we'll get some more information on that.
Yeah. And that's it for this week's show. So, any other sort of questions, comments, queries, corrections, pop it down in the sort of comments below on our YouTube channel, or just go to any of our sort of YouTube videos, anything vaguely to do with your question, and pop your sort of question, comment, correction, whatever I said, down in the comments there, and then we will answer it in next week's show. Of course, we have to say thank you to Divemaster Insurance for sponsoring this week's show.
Cheers.
The next episode of the deep dive is going to be talking about CO2 levels in full face masks, or more accurately, full face snorkel masks.
Dead air space.
Yeah, it's a lot about dead air space. Alannah and myself, we're going to be sort of filming that tomorrow, and that's going to go live, I don't know, Sunday, whenever Shaun actually makes it.
Next week.
Sunday confirmed. He has promised. Okay, so don't forget to follow us on Radio Public. If you don't know Radio Public, it's an app which you basically just sort of log into, and you can listen to all of our podcasts on the go. You can also follow us on podcast, or of course anywhere, wherever you're basically listening to us right now. You can listen to us again next week. Don't forget to rate us if you're listening to us on iTunes. Even if you're not, just head over to iTunes. Search for Simply Scuba or the Deco Stop podcast. Just click on that little 5-star.
Yeah, 5 stars only.
And that does actually help us, because then everywhere kind of sees it and they're like, oh yeah, this is a good podcast, and then we make more of them. Pop any questions, comments in the sort of YouTube channel, and don't forget to share the podcast with all your scuba diving friends so they know about it. Thank you for listening, and safe diving.
Cheers, guys.
The Deco Stop podcast is produced and recorded by Simply Scuba, the UK's #1 dive store. Visit today at simplyscuba.com.